not everything is going to go your way in life. Sometimes things are going to happen that you just cannot control, that are going to lead to suffering, and that's the reality of the world we live in. What matters is how do you adapt to things you cannot control? How do you adapt to things that happen that you cannot influence, that just randomly happen to you? Say you're going about your life, it's wonderful, then you're diagnosed with something terrible like cancer or something that's going to have a negative impact on your life, or you break a bone, or a family member dies, or something serious happens. The reality is you can't control these things. Sometimes bad things just happen to good people. It's the reality of the world we live in, it's just how it is. Now, it's up to you how you interpret a bad thing that happens, because you can sort of learn from everything. I'm going to give you a very first world example of this today, because it was quite an interesting day. A series of things happened that weren't ideal, but they're not serious. I mean, I don't need to go into serious stuff in my life. But here's a general first world example as to how a day can go wrong. So here's the thing. I wake up, it's raining, I need to get to school. Because of my eyesight in Australia, I can't legally drive a car. So I get half-price taxis. I get a half-price taxi to the school. It's raining, it's a miserable sort of morning. I don't have any power. The power's out in my house, and it had been out since like 5 in the morning. So getting ready, no power, sort of no nothing, in the dark. All is just normal day. Then I get in the taxi. It's all good. Get to work. Leave my umbrella in the taxi. All right? That's the first thing. Leave the umbrella in the taxi. First thing, can't control it. It happened. Didn't go my way. Then I get to school. School day goes relatively okay. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Pretty fine. Then after school, it starts pelting down rain. Now I don't have an umbrella, and the bus stop I need to get to is about 1 kilometre away. So what I have to do, I've got to run through the rain. Right? Run through the rain, get the bus. Then guess what? I get the bus stop, and I find out that the bus is cancelled. Always fun, because I'm like a significant distance, like say 25 kilometres from my house. So that's a massive pain, because this bus basically goes to my house. Really annoying. And then I meet this old lady there, and she's also lost, so I sort of help her to find her way and everything. That's all good Samaritan sort of energy. Then, bus is cancelled. I basically wait around for the next bus. It's probably like 40 minutes. I try and book a taxi or Uber. In the meantime, no taxis available, no Ubers available, so can't get home. And then, basically, same thing. Wait for a bus, get a bus to a nearby place because I can't get a bus to my home. Then get another taxi from that place to my home, and I'm good, right? Bit of an interesting day. So we've got no power, got losing an umbrella, got getting soaked by like having to run in rain, not having a bus show up, a series of other things, right? If you're in the wrong mentality, this can like severely piss you off, right? This can make you really angry. I know people in my life where if even one of these things happened, they'd be furious and like ruin their day. What I've noticed from my mind, I feel like I have a more developed, more chill mind than a lot of people do, but essentially all these things happened, but I'm not personally really bothered by them. So it's something I noticed today. All these things are happening that are sort of inconvenient and annoying, but they didn't really bother me. Like I was sort of okay with it. It was annoying, but I didn't really get emotionally reactive to it. I just sort of accepted it and moved on. I went, okay, well, this has happened. What do I do now? So I think that's what you have to do. When something goes wrong in your life, be it small, these are all very small first world trivial examples, or big, you can get emotionally triggered by it and react to it, right? Or you can have an approach, like a more stoic approach, and just be like, okay, well, this happened. What do I do? Say if you lost all your money, some extreme example, you can scream and cry about it and be annoyed, right? But the reality is you go, okay, I've lost all my money. What do I do now? Okay, I just lost my legs. What do I do now? Just whatever extreme, just to have that never-ending pursuit to move forwards, no matter what happens in your life. It's going to lead to an incredible thing. So, for example, with me having a visual impairment, there's various things in my life that I struggled with or that I can't do now, like driving a car, as that example from before. So what do? I could complain about it. I live in a city where the public transport's pretty ordinary, right? So I could be under the impression of going, oh, I can't drive. I feel like crap. Why can't I do that? Other people can do that. I'm going to feel sorry for myself, right? But that mentality would not get me anywhere in life. That mentality is not going to help. It's not going to make my eyes magically heal. So instead of that, I have this stoic approach where I'm basically like, okay, can't drive a car. What do I do now? It's that powerful. It's that simple. And it doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter how small or how big. Say your girlfriend breaks up with you. Oh, my girlfriend broke up with me. You can react and scream and cry and be emotionally triggered by it. And you may be to some extent, but eventually you've got to be at a point where it's like, okay, my girlfriend broke up with me. What do I do now? How do I move on? What's the next step? So you can't control these things. And there's an element of luck to life, right? Like me making these videos. Maybe one of them will pop off. Maybe they never will. Who knows? There's probably strategies and things I can do to make this channel grow more. But for now, it's just like the challenge to myself to upload daily videos, to get used to talking to the camera, so on, so on. And I've got to react to that. I might be judged for doing that. You know, many people do that. I might be blinking a lot. People might not know I'm visually impaired. They're like, why is this guy blinking a lot? Is he on drugs? What's he doing? Right? They don't know. That's the reality of life. If someone leaves a terrible comment under the video saying, oh, you're a waste of space, whatever, I can't control that. It's like, okay, cool. So someone out there thinks I'm a waste of space. Do I care? Yes or no? What do I do about it? So it's like this rational way of approaching life. It's just looking at something, not being overly emotionally triggered by it, and just being able to move on. Being able to accept that something's happened if it wasn't what you want to happen. And what do you do? So basically, let's give the examples again. Going through the day, there's no power. What do I do about it? Can't do anything. So, okay, cool. There's no power. I've got to own it. Got to accept it. Got to move on. Then got to get to the bus stop. It's like, all right, I've got to get this bus stop. It's about 1 kilometer away. It's raining. It's like, okay, a little bit of rain's not going to kill me. I'm just going to jog it. And I go for a run in the rain and get to the bus stop. Then I realize the bus is cancelled. Like, what do I do now? Open up Google Maps, try and get a taxi and Uber. Nothing's showing up. Open Google Maps. There's a bus in 40 minutes. It goes to a place that's probably 10 minutes from my home. I'm like, oh, all right, fine. We'll have to get that bus. That's the best option in the moment. It's not fun, but in the moment, it's the best option that I had. Then I get there, get a taxi home. So I'm solving problems in real time. I can give you some other examples. So this is a while ago. This was in 2016. But I was going over to Japan for karate. Really excited. It was going to be the first time I went to Japan. Night before, was chasing my brother around the kitchen and I broke my toe. Just completely broke it. Totally. Like, not just a fracture, like complete break. And therefore couldn't go to Japan. Sort of down about it, but again, that mentality of just being like, okay, I broke my toe. I'm not going to be able to do karate in Japan. Now what? That's so powerful. Just to say, all right, this happened. What do I do now? I could probably tell you countless other examples, but at the end of the day, it's inner strength. And I try not to be super reactive to things if I can't control them. I'll put energy into what I can control. But if something happens to me, if something happens to someone else that cannot be controlled, it cannot be avoided, then it is what it is. Unnecessary suffering is worrying about things that you can't change. If you worry about things and you can't change them, then you're going to suffer unnecessarily. If you worry about something you can change, then you're going to suffer. Like, there's certain things I want to achieve in my life I don't have yet. And I guess there's a dimension of suffering to wanting those things, but it's not like it's a big deal, right? It's like, yeah, there's a degree of suffering and wanting it. But it's when something like with my eyes, if I was annoyed about that and I suffered because my eyes weren't ideal, then that'd be a massive problem. I'd waste all this mental energy on wishing something was different to how it really is. And I believe that's a problem. So, yeah, if you can dodge that, if you can not worry about things that don't annoy, like if something happens and you don't worry about it, that's really powerful. Worry about the things you can control. Don't worry about the media, the politics, what people are doing in like Russia or somewhere. Don't worry about it. Unless you want to influence and control it, just don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. It's a waste of energy. To worry about something you can't change or don't want to change or like whatever, it's a waste of energy. There's better things you can do with your time. Focus on things you can control. If you don't make enough money, focus on making more money. If you don't like your body, focus on improving it. If you want a girlfriend and you don't have one, focus on doing that. You can control all of those things, right? But if you're annoyed because the stock market crashed, you can't change that. If you're annoyed because someone broke up with you, you can't change that. If you're annoyed because your best friend called you something you didn't like, ignore it. If you're worried because the politician got in that you didn't want to get in, don't worry about it. You can't control it. Maybe you had a vote, you had an influence. Whatever happened, happened. Move on. Figure on what you can control. If it really worries you, then influence it. Go and do something to get the people into politics that you want. Go and join a political party. Go and do something. But if you don't care about it to that level, then don't worry about it. So I hope that helps and makes a little bit of sense. I think there's, so much power. So many people, because we're all on the internet now, we're all consistently exposed to things that we never used to see. You know, all the news going on in the world, you know, all of the negativity. Negativity sells. So you go on the news and you're like, oh, so-and-so in this other state where you don't live got murdered and thrown in the creek. It's like, right, that's going to trigger you. It's like, oh no, someone got murdered and thrown in the creek, and it's going to trigger your brain because your brain doesn't understand that that's like 1,000 kilometers away. And you just go, all right, well, that sucks, but what am I going to do about it? And if you don't, if it doesn't directly impact you, and if you don't want to change it, those two things has to be both. If it doesn't impact you and you do not want to change it, if you want to change it, or it's going to directly impact you, then fix it if you can. But if you can't change it, don't worry about it. Or if you don't want to change it, don't worry about it. Focus on things you want to change. Focus on things that you want to control, and your life will be like so much better. You'll be so much happier. You'll wake up happy. At least you'll wake up happier than if you just spend time pondering things you can't control. It's a waste of energy. So yeah, if you gain some value from that, give the video a like. And comment and share it with anyone you think it'll help. I see this as a massive problem in our culture. Like, there's so many people getting triggered over like politics and media and religion and all this stuff that they have no interest in like trying to influence. Yeah, they just have loud voices. So yeah, peace out and enjoy the rest of your day.